Hello, lovely people. This Crazy. We are back online today. Today we are going to continue our business talk. Our business talk about things to do if you are in China. Yeah. Business talk will be for people who want to come and do business in China. People who want to come and buy stuff, people who want to come and sell their products here, people who want to come and invest, people who want to come and invest in China, people who want to come and find investors in China and take them to Africa, to take them to South America, to take them to Japan, anywhere in the world. Because as now here in China, the president wants the big Chinese businesses, and no matter how small it is, whether big or small, they want Chinese businesses to move out of China to the world and bring in some revenue. Because as we're talking right now, opportunities in China are going low and low. Opportunities are being minimized in China, whilst there are very big opportunities in Africa. Africa is like a Greenland where a lot of the opportunities are untapped. South America, I was in Brazil. I remember Brazil is also a little bit developed than Africa. They also have a lot of opportunities, and opportunities over there are untapped as compared to China. So if you want to come and do business here in China, you can come and do business here. It's no problem. But then if you are supposed to do that same business in your home country, I think you have more opportunity to grow faster. You can grow fast in China here, but then you know that your competition, there'll be a lot of competition in the kind of business you want to do. For example, in the hotel industry, there's very stiff competition in terms of pricing, in terms of quality, in terms of, let's say, the service the hotel gives. So doing business in China is very, very competitive. So I have some friends who are German. They come and look for investors. They bring on business ideas and business models. They come and look for investors here in China, and they take the investors to countries in South America and countries in Africa. Today we are just going to talk about doing business in China, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is the currency. The currency. As a businessman or businesswoman, if you are doing business in China, you must be very conversant with the currency. The currency is something that you must take into consideration, because if you are doing business and you don't know the difference between the currency and the exchange rates, it's going to cause a lot of problems for you. Example, let me use this example. As a Ghanaian, if you are coming to buy things in China here, you must check the currency conversion rates to see that what you are coming to buy here in China will be sold in Ghana at a cheaper rate. So if you are coming to buy, let's say, a watch, which in Ghana is around 100 Ghana cedis, you should make sure that when you come to China and you convert the yuan wouldn't be more than 100 Ghana cedis, because if you buy it more than 100 Ghana cedis over here, when you go to Ghana, you cannot sell. So all I'm saying is get conversant with the currency. If you are doing business internationally, you must be very conversant with the currency. There's an app that you can download to get the currency feed live. The app is called XC Currency Calculator. I'm not here to advertise any company. I'm not here to put a spotlight on any company to gain anything. I'm not here to advertise anything for any company. I'm just showing you the currency converter that I use when I'm doing business between Ghana and Brazil. I remember I did some business between Ghana and Brazil because I have a friend in Brazil. Also, I've been doing business between China and Brazil, and China and Ghana. So I know what is down with business ethics and things to know when you are doing business between these three countries: China, Brazil, China, Ghana. Currency is very important. Most of the time, you find the African currencies not being stable. African currencies are very, very delicate and volatile, but then the Chinese currency is a little bit stable and is reliable. Over here, since I came to this country, I've been using 1 yuan to take a bus. 1 yuan to take a bus. And from 2013, let's say 2012 when I came here, to 2019, I still use that 1 yuan to take the bus. But then you can go and check back in Ghana. I think if you are using, let's say, 1 cedi to take a bus from one point to another, within the next year or next 2 years, you'll be paying more. Like the price of fare keep on increasing. Why? Because of the currency. The currency keep on falling to the dollar. So in Ghana, if the currency falls the dollar, or maybe in in Uganda, if the currency falls the dollar, because of the fact that the country buy fuel using dollars, they exchange their money to buy fuel using dollars. They need to charge more to make in for the fall in the currency. So make sure that if you want to do business in China, you know and understand the exchange rates, and you can be able to peg your goods accordingly. If you don't do that, you come here to China, you come to Guangzhou, you come to Shenzhen, you come to Beijing or Shanghai, where I live, Shanghai, you come and buy goods, and you would think in your mind it's cheap, but then because the currency has changed, you'll be buying it on a high rate. So as a businessman, currency is something that you should never ignore. Next thing I'm going to talk about is location. Location is very, very important when it comes to China here. In my earlier Facebook lives, I remember I spoke about the markets, the Guangzhou market, the Shanghai market, and the Jiangsu market. And we have some spots of markets in Hunan, Tianjin, that area. You should look at the products you want to purchase. If you want to purchase fabrics, you know you are coming to the east of China, that is Shanghai area near you. Yiwu is a specific market for fabric. If you want to buy electronics, like let's say TVs, if you want to come and buy things in bulk, like you want to have your own brand of TV, you come to Shenzhen, and the products over there, you can order your own set of TVs and they'll put your brand on it for you. They call it OME. They'll put your brand on it for you. If you want watches, any electronic products or any product that you want to produce on large scale, they can do it. T-shirts, you come to Yiwu and you want your brand of T-shirts, they'll do it for you. Same place in Yiwu, the big brands like Gucci, Fendi, and all those brands that you know, some of them come to Yiwu and they come and buy their fabrics over there, take it to Shanghai, and they tailor it in Shanghai. Then they send it to sell in some instances. Other instances too, they just buy the fabric over here, they ship the whole fabric to Italy, and they get it styled. They get it cut and styled. Thank you very much, Mr. Kwekusika. He says, keep up the good work, bro. Yeah, this is 14. Thank you, 14. Thank you for passing by. Yeah. So the location is very important. Same thing I'll say concerning the location is when you are doing shipments, there are some places that you ship through that is very cheap, and some places that you ship through that are very expensive. If you are shipping your products through Guangzhou, you find that Guangzhou shipping rates are a little bit cheaper. But then if you are shipping your product through Shanghai shipping rates are a little bit expensive as compared to Guangzhou. Qingdao too is another place that you can ship your goods in large quantities. But then Qingdao, most of the time the goods are delayed. It takes a long time for you to ship your product from Qingdao to your destination. I don't know why, for some reasons, if you are shipping from Qingdao to Africa, it takes a longer time than shipping from Guangzhou. Guangzhou is the fastest of all and is the cheapest of all. I'm not advertising Guangzhou or I'm telling you to go ship your thing from Guangzhou, but then if you are buying a product and your product is near Guangzhou, I think it's advisable to ship through Guangzhou. If you're buying a product and where you're buying a product from is near Shanghai, I think it would be convenient and cost effective to ship through Shanghai. But then if you are buying a product and your product is close to Qingdao, then ship through Qingdao. Don't buy a thing from Beijing, that is the north of China, and then go way down to Guangzhou thinking that you want to ship it at a cheaper rate. Yes, you think it's cheaper, but bear in mind that the goods are in the north of China, around the Beijing area. Sending the goods from Beijing to Guangzhou will be another cost. You get me? So you are going to pay double cost for shipping. Sending your goods from the north of China down to the south of China. And when it gets to the south of China, you have to pay for shipping the goods outside of the country. If you calculate this, you know that, if you were supposed to find a port near where you bought your goods, it will be a little bit cheaper. The next point I'm going to talk to you about is the contracts. If you are signing contracts here in China, there's a different mentality of contracts between the Westerners, the Africans, and the Chinese people. Chinese people have a different mentality when it comes to contracts, and that is what we are all supposed to know. When it comes to contracts, Chinese people see it differently. They believe that as the conditions of the contract changes, the terms of the contract must change. Example, if I'm buying some goods from them and their currency changes just a little, as soon as the currency changes, if the goods are in large quantity, then they want to add that cost to you, the consumer, or you, the buyer. They wouldn't just waive off that small cost and think, because you're a regular buyer, or because this cost is very small, let me waive. No, they are not going to waive off the cost. If the cost is eating their profits, they will add it. But then if the cost doesn't get into their profits, for very few times, maybe unless it's done business for them for a very long time, they will they will not waive it. So contracts, as I'm telling you, any small instance that change in a contract, they will have a change of a contract totally, and they wouldn't inform you. They wouldn't tell you they change your mind concerning what you're doing. All of a sudden, when you start to, let's say, act, when you start to enforce the contract, then they will tell you, oh, sorry, we can't enforce the contract as we agreed earlier because right now there's a small change, so we need to make new changes to the contract. So take note of this. Contracts in China it's not 100% guaranteed that you sign a contract with somebody, so everything will go 100%. That's what I want you to know. If you sign a contract in China, they believe in more action than a contract. They think a contract is just a paperwork. Most companies, I'm not talking about, maybe not for the big companies, but then for most companies in China here, they think contract is just a paperwork. It doesn't really mean nothing. That's what's in your brain. So some will abuse a contract, some will will not go according to the contract, or some will go other miles or do other things that are outside the contract. They don't really think that a contract is that binding like how the Westerners and all other people think. They think contract is paperwork to just show that, oh, you are into the business or you want things to be done. They don't see it as binding enough to keep you from doing some things. Although they have a contract with you, they still think they have their freedom to do whatever they want to do. So please take a note of that. The next thing we are going to talk about that is very important is the timing. if you are doing business here in China, timing should be something very important to you. Chinese, for that, I will congratulate them for that. For timing, they are most of the time on time. They are on time most of the time. If they guarantee you your goods will be produced in 5 days, know that actual time for producing that goods is maybe 4 days or 3 days. They try to make sure they keep up with their time, not to fail the clients or whoever it is. I like this about their governments. The governments, most of the time, if you are processing documents with the Chinese governments, if they tell you 5 days, 5 working days, most of the time, the 3rd working day, all your documentation is ready. And the 5th working day, as soon as you go there, you get your paperwork ready. So rest assured, if you are coming to do business with Chinese, timing wouldn't be a problem. If any company delays the time, delays you in terms of production of goods, then it might be some problem in terms of money. If a company delay you in producing your goods, maybe they have a problem in terms of money. You didn't finish the payment, or they are waiting for you to top up the payment, or some small problem with payments and all that, or maybe some problems when it gets to agreement or something. So that is why maybe they will delay you. But on the whole, they wouldn't delay you if you make full payments and all the agreements are clear. So get in your mind, timing, they are very good. You wouldn't have a problem at the time. Now I'm going to go on to the business behavior, and the ethics. Okay. For the behavior, most Chinese people, when they meet you for a business meeting, they'll give you a cigarette to smoke. And for foreigners, for non-Chinese people, they don't really, non-Chinese people don't really appreciate somebody else giving them a cigarette to smoke. Example, when you meet your client for business, what you do is you go straight ahead to business. But for Chinese people, most of the time they like to talk about some small petty things before they start business. Maybe they'll go for dinner with you, they'll go for lunch with you, they would like to go and have some breakfast, lunch or something. They'll eat something with you and they'll give you something to smoke. Then they start business. They believe that before you do business, you have good relations with the person before you start business. But then when it comes to the culture, like let's say the Western culture, the African culture, that is not done. Most times when you meet somebody for business, you just come talk about business, and when it's done, you go. You don't go and first go have lunch with him or have dinner with him before you start a business. No, you just come straight on point to do your business. So you should take note of that. They might give you a cigarette. 90 out of 100 times, they'll give you a cigarette, and if you want to smoke, you smoke. But then if you think you don't want to smoke anything, you just tell them, oh, I'm very sorry, I don't smoke. You take the cigarette, alright, yes, you should take the cigarette, it's a gift. So to reject the gift will be a little bit, they will see it as somebody who is hostile. So you just take the cigarettes out of their hand, put in your pockets and tell them, oh, you don't smoke because of doctor's advice, or oh, you are taking a cigarette and you smoke at a later time. One thing that you must also know is some bad businessmen, some bad Chinese businessmen, when they give you this courtesies, they buy food for you, they give you something to smoke or whatever, and you don't buy their products, they get angry and they tell you, oh, refund the money that I used to buy your food, refund the money that I used to pay for the hotel. Example, if he was a man inviting you and paying for the hotel, he tell you, give me back the hotel money. If the Chinese businessman was the one who paid for lunch for you or to eat, you say, oh, I paid for lunch because I think you are coming to buy my product. So if you didn't buy my product, refund me the money. Yeah, some Chinese businessmen can behave this way. If you don't buy their product, they will tell you, since you didn't buy the product, refund the money they used to buy lunch for you. So please take note of that. This is a culture that some bad business men would do. So if you encounter that, don't be shocked. It's just a little bit normal over here. The next thing I will talk to you about is that China is like a hierarchy. It's like a hierarchy, like a triangle, like a hierarchy. Mostly people of power, people who are controlling things in China, give orders from the top, and it's supposed to be obeyed from the down. So if you are doing business here in China, make sure that you try to meet the bosses of the business, because if you talk to those who are down the ladder, they have nothing to do with decision making. Other countries in the West, somebody in the bottom of the ladder can make a decision concerning some company issues. Here in China, it's not like that. Only those at the top are the decision makers. All those down the ladder are just like messengers, or they are just like representatives. They listen and they go tell the boss what is happening, and they take orders from the boss and they come and tell you. They're like middlemen between you and the boss. You get me? So if you are doing business here in China, try to get to the bosses, try to get those in charge. If you get those in charge, things will be a little bit faster for you in terms of having inside information, in terms of quick communication, in terms of having quick decisions on an issue. Don't forget, this is so important. Try to get in contact with the owners, the business owners, or the bosses, or those who are the decision makers of that company, so that communicating will be easier and faster. The last thing I will tell you about doing business in China is things here in China are heavily politicized. If I say politicized, I mean no company is independent of the political structure of the country. And a lot of people are very nationalistic over here. So if there is a political wave, all businesses will follow, no matter if it's conducive to you, the customer, or not conducive to you, the customer. I don't want to give examples, but then what I want you to know is, if orders are given from the government down the ladder, there is no company who will go against those orders. So when you are coming here, make sure that you know orders, and these are going to be the tools to help you do business here. No company is independent out of the political structure of the country. Whatever the government wants, even if it's a private company, the private company is obliged to carry out the order of the government. Yeah, so that's it. As you are coming to business in China here, remember, you should be educated about this place. Don't come here and start experiencing some new things that you never heard of or you never seen. Don't come here with a blank mentality. If I say blank mentality, I mean don't come here knowing nothing. If you come here knowing nothing, yes, you have your cultural shock. You go through all the process of your cultural shock, but then maybe it will affect you financially. And as a businessman and businesswoman, you don't want to do things that will affect you financially. Example, rent a hotel for a very high rate, whilst there are very cheap hotels in China as compared to Europe. When I went to Europe, I saw that the hotels over there were very, very expensive. In China, the hotel industry was charging a very cheap price for the hotels. So this is all I have for you today. If you have any questions, you can ask a question right now and I'll be waiting for a reply. We have about 4 minutes before we end the show. I'll be waiting for questions. Mr. Puikusika, do you have any questions for us today? Yeah. Whilst I wait for the questions, I'd like to make some additional points that will be very useful for businesses or people who want to come here and do business. If you are investing here in the country, invest slowly. Don't invest hugely and fast. Take your time and invest. Example, if you want to start up a restaurant over here, you should learn the terrain. You should know your target market and see if your target market is at the location where you are going to site or where you are going to put your restaurant. Business over here comes up so quickly and they fail out so quickly. Even the Chinese business, because this place is, the opportunities over here is very choked. You see business come up quickly and they die quickly. So to my advice, for the advice I'll give every person who wants to come and invest in this country is, if you come here, take about 6 months to study the market, get to know your customers, get the Chinese person over here to get to know the grounds before you start investing. Don't think that you know about how to do business in another country and that same knowledge is what you are going to replicate here. Yes, you can replicate some of those knowledge, but then it's not. You can't put all the knowledge you got from there here and think it will work. Few of what you know already might not work here because here is a different ball game altogether. Remember, their culture is very important. Their culture is very important. And lastly, for those who want to come here and get involved in buying things and shipping, those who want to come here to come find partners for their tech startup, there's a community here in Shanghai. There's a community of tech startup people, tech startup geeks. Some are foreigners, some are Chinese. We can introduce you to some of them so that you have access to the tech industry, because right now Chinese are ahead in terms of tech, and it's very good to come over here, learn and transfer some of the technology back to Africa. For those who want to buy products and the products are huge, like large quantities of products, and they want people to go and double check and inspect for them, there are third parties over here who can go and check that all your goods are intact before your goods are shipped. Lastly, for those who want to come and start up businesses, like let's say companies, or start up restaurants, export and import companies, football teams, there are advisory, companies and consulting companies and agents over here who can help you start up a company, can help you with a tech startup, can help you start up an export and import company, and help you start up your restaurants. So this is all I have for you today. I hope you'll be here next week, and next week is going to be fun. Next week we are going to talk more about education. We are going to draw some few comparisons between the African style and the South American style of education, European style of education, American style of education, and we compare to the Chinese style of education. So next week is going to be fun. I hope you are going to come here, you are going to bring your friends, and we have more of you asking questions and contributing. Thank you very much. I hope you be with us next week. God bless you.